multi-dimensional relations with Russia, and it's a priority for us. So there is a new approach, a new mindset for Russia, and this is a significant statement that I'm making, because we feel that not just that we have geographical proximity, which we do. Russia is a factor of stability for this region, and not just at the regional level, they're a factor of stability at the global stage. We want to build a relationship of trust and friendship with the Russian Federation. Russia has been a strong advocate of the centrality of the United Nations. They have always advocated primacy of international law and multilateralism, and these are principles that Pakistan adheres to. Our coordination and our cooperation at the UN level has been excellent, and we just discussed that and we shared that, and it is continuously improving, and we intend to improve it further. We feel that Russia contributes to regional stability, and our good relations add to regional stability and to global security. We want to deepen our bilateral relations and create win-win cooperation between our two countries. We discussed, as I mentioned earlier, the entire spectrum of our bilateral relations. We discussed how we can promote economic relations and trade. We realized that our trade touched a new level last year, but then it was primarily because we imported more wheat from Russia. But we have plenty of opportunities of broadening our trade links, and we will certainly look into them. Investments and economic cooperation, sky's the limit. We've decided and we've agreed that, well, we could not hold our bilateral political consultations because of the COVID situation, but we've agreed that during this year, hopefully soon, in Moscow, we will convene the Intergovernmental Commission, and that will lay the foundations for a more meaningful economic interaction between Russia and Pakistan. We also took stock of the energy cooperation between two countries and the North-South gas pipeline. I'm happy to share with you that we have overcome many of the impediments, and I have reassured we received their response on some of the amendments that we had proposed to the intergovernmental agreement on the 2nd of April. That is under consideration, and I have reassured the Foreign Minister that Pakistan wants to go ahead and is committed to this project because we are net beneficiaries. We are energy deficient, and we benefit from it. We've also looked at our cooperation in defense, counterterrorism, and we feel that we have, within our framework of dialogue, strategic stability and counterterrorism opportunities of interaction, and we feel that we can help each other. And I am grateful to the Foreign Minister. He has acknowledged the progress Pakistan has made in defeating and reversing, terrorism and extremism, and they are more than happy to even further build our capacity on that score. We've also discussed the Afghan situation. Today, Russia and Pakistan see eye to eye on a lot of issues that are being discussed in Afghanistan. We are both interested in restoring peace and stability, and there's very good cooperation taking place on that score. We've also discussed the successful, the successful expanded Troika meeting, the possibility of another Moscow format meeting, and instructed our envoys to stay in close contact to remain in touch and coordinate their positions. I briefed the Foreign Minister on the larger question of peace and security in South Asia. Our perspective, I gave him our perspective, the fragility of the situation on our border with India, the situation in Jammu and Kashmir on human rights is a concern, has been a concern. But I also shared with him a recent positive development, and that is that both sides have recommitted to ceasefire. The understanding, 2003 ceasefire understanding, which is definitely a reduced tension and has been welcomed on both sides of the line of control. So there's a lot I can say, but I have limited time and he has to speak and we have to go and meet the Prime Minister. I would conclude by saying that this visit is an important visit. It has taken place after almost a decade, and we feel this visit will further deepen our bilateral relations and our friendship, and we intend to maintain this momentum and our high-level contacts. And I would want to conclude on this quote from a famous Russian poet, who happens to be the Foreign Minister of Russia and my guest. And I quote, "The road ahead is just the beginning of the road home." So welcome home to your region.
Большое спасибо, уважаемый господин министр, дамы и господа. Я хотел бы начать с выражения признательности нашим пакистанским хозяевам за очень радушный и теплый прием.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. I would like to state that I'm grateful to our hosts in Pakistan who have accorded us a very cordial welcome.
Российско-пакистанские отношения носят конструктивный, взаимовыгодный характер.
Relations between Russia and Pakistan are constructive and mutually beneficial.
У нас установился доверительный политический диалог, в том числе на высшем и высоком уровнях.
We have established a confidential political dialogue, including at the high and highest levels.
И отрадно, что регулярность двусторонних контактов удалось сохранить, несмотря на пандемию коронавируса.
And I'm glad that we were able to preserve our dynamic political dialogue despite the pandemic of the coronavirus.
Мы удовлетворены тем, что прошлый год стал рекордным для двустороннего товарооборота. Его объем увеличился более чем на 45% и достиг $790 миллионов.
I am satisfied by the fact that the mutual trade has increased by 46% and hit the record $790 million.
У нас общее мнение, что это не предел, и нужно искать пути по дальнейшему углублению нашего экономического взаимодействия, и решающую роль здесь призвана сыграть межправительственная комиссия, заседание которой в этом году должно состояться в России.
And we both agree that this is not a limit and we should further develop our economic relations. The key role here is played by the organization and by the session of the Intergovernmental Commission, and this year it takes place in Russia.
У нас состоялось обсуждение перспектив сотрудничества в энергетике. Флагманский проект здесь — газопровод Север-Юг из Карачи в Лахор.
We've also discussed our cooperation in the area of energy, and the flagship project here is the gas pipeline north-south in Lahore and Karachi.
У нас есть соответствующее межправительственное соглашение 2015 года. Сейчас уточняются некоторые вопросы, которые станут частью протокола к этому соглашению. Надеюсь, что он будет подписан, и мы сможем быстро приступить к работе.
Here we have an agreement of 2015, and we have been discussing the protocol to this agreement, and as soon as it's signed, we can launch the construction of the pipeline.
Мы подтвердили готовность российской стороны продолжать содействовать укреплению антитеррористического потенциала Пакистана, включая поставки соответствующей техники.
We've confirmed that we stand ready to strengthen the anti-terrorist potential of Pakistan, including by supplying Pakistan with the special military equipment.
Мы считаем, что это отвечает интересам всех государств региона.
This serves the interest of all states of the region.
Договорились продолжать практику регулярных совместных тактических учений в горных условиях «Дружба», а также военно-морских учений «Аравийский муссон» по борьбе с терроризмом и пиратством.
We also agreed that we need to further conduct exercises and drills in the mountains called Friendship and maritime exercises called Arabian Monsoon.
Совпадающих или близких позиций мы обсудили международные дела.
Besides, we discussed international affairs where we have congenial views.
У нас общий интерес в том, чтобы продолжать и усиливать координацию на международных площадках, включая Организацию Объединенных Наций.
We both agree that it serves our interest to coordinate our views in international organizations such as the UN.
Мы также констатировали, что с момента присоединения к Шанхайской организации сотрудничества в качестве полноправного члена 3 года назад пакистанские коллеги активно участвуют в практической деятельности этой организации, включая ее региональную антитеррористическую структуру.
We also agree that as once Pakistan acceded to Shanghai Cooperation Organization 3 years ago, it has been very active in its practical work, including the anti-terrorist structure.
Мы, как и наши пакистанские коллеги, серьезно озабочены деградацией ситуации в сфере безопасности в Афганистане. Там растет террористическая активность, укрепляются позиции ИГИЛ на севере и востоке страны.
We are also concerned by the deterioration of the situation in the area of security in Afghanistan and by the rise of terrorist activities and the march of ISIL in north and east of the country.
Мы договорились и далее содействовать созданию условий для того, чтобы противоборствующие стороны вышли на конструктивные развязки, которые позволят прекратить гражданскую войну в Афганистане через договоренности о формировании инклюзивных структур власти.
We agreed that we need to further facilitate the contradictory and hostile parties for them to reach agreements to put an end to civil war based on the inclusive political dialogue.
Именно на достижение этих целей была направлена встреча так называемой расширенной тройки в Москве 18 марта с участием России, Китая, США и Пакистана по афганскому регулированию.
To this end, on March 18th in Moscow took place the expanded troika with the participation of Russia, China, USA and Pakistan.
Рассмотрели ситуацию на Ближнем Востоке и на севере Африки, в частности в Сирии, Ливии, Йемене, а также ситуацию в палестино-израильском урегулировании.
Besides, we discussed the situation in the Middle East and North Africa and the conflicts in Syria, Yemen, Libya and Palestine and Israel.
Мы считаем, что на фоне бурных событий в регионе непозволительно придавать забвению задачу создания палестинского государства.
We believe that against the backdrop of the tensions in the region, we should not forget the task of establishing a state of Palestine.
Россия готова содействовать прямому диалогу между палестинцами и израильтянами и будет активно продвигать этот подход.
Russia stands ready to facilitate the direct dialogue between Palestine and Israel and will do everything in its forces to do that.
Мы подробно обсудили ситуацию в Азиатско-Тихоокеанском регионе.
Besides, we discussed in detail the situation in Asia Pacific.
Здесь